Nobody works here, lady, most especially not the moose, by user necessary treacle 702. My friends went hiking in the woods recently. They parked at the unmanned trailhead where another car was already parked. As they got out of their car, a woman started walking rapidly toward them demanding, "Where are the moose? There are supposed to be moose." I looked it up on the internet. As if my friends, as locals, are responsible for stalking the woods and can tell her the moose public appearance schedule. One of them tried to explain to this crazy person that moose don't often lounge around out in the open, especially not this time of year, it is the rut and start of hunting season. He suggested that if she just wanted to get a sense of the size of the beasts, she should check with the local game warden and maybe see a fresh kill. She finally marched back to her car, still muttering to herself that there are supposed to be moose, and drove off. My friends stood there in stunned silence for a moment and then burst out laughing before starting their hike. I'm told it was a gorgeous day, and they couldn't help but feel sorry for this strange lady who couldn't appreciate the natural beauty around her because she can't grasp the difference between a petting zoo and an area of natural habitation. I do work here, by user Baxter Hooger. I run a gardening business. An old client from 10 years ago rang me to mow her lawns today. I remember her being a little strange from before, but never mind. She told me her previous gardener had pushed her around and poked her. At this point alarm bells are ringing because I know most of the guys in my franchise and none of them would ever touch a customer. She can't remember his name and Central only have me as her last gardener from 10 years ago, so things aren't adding up. Anyway, go to her house, have a chat, give her a quote, which she accepts, book her in for next week and leave. Everyone happy, you'd think. 3 hours later she rings me again. The conversation goes something like this. "Hi, is this Baxter Hugger? Did you come to my house and give me a quote?" "I don't think you did, the real Baxter Hugger never came to my house. Someone came pretending to be him, an imposter." "What? The real Baxter Hugger never came to my house, someone came but it wasn't him." "Okay, I'm canceling the job, you have mental health issues and need to see a doctor." "No, I need to see Baxter Hugger." "You need a doctor, not a gardener, please get professional help." "I demand to speak to the real Baxter Hugger." Goodbye. The lady is obviously suffering from some form of delusions, and making stuff up, very dangerous to be around. I got her banned from the agency as she'd probably report the next guy to the police for something. Anyone like to take a guess at what she's suffering from? Paranoia? Schizophrenia? Need to vent wearing red in a blue store, by user boundaries _ please. Hey y'alls, this happened to me again today but it's still on my mind. I'm in a bright red shirt, because I work for a humanitarian org, and I'm shopping at Walmart, where their employees are wearing blue _ just trying to get my goods when not 1, 2 but 3 PPL accost me. Number 1 got my toothpaste in hand walking heading to the aisle, when a older white female yakking gone cell phone blocks me and says suppositories. I look at her and say I don't work here. She shoots back, well you look like you do. In my bright red shirt? Then I go to the car aisle looking for an air freshener for my car. 2 males in aisle. Number 2 older white male comes up to me. I say as I'm reaching up to get my air freshener, I don't work here. Then number 3 black male in same aisle says to number 2, oh I'm glad you said something, I was about to ask, they never have people working here, and proceed to have a effing laugh as I am still trying to reach my dang air freshener again in a bright red shirt. This happens to me a lot. I've been in a checkout line in a business suit, or t-shirt and jeans and had people scream toilet paper follow me around. Had one lady call me deaf and dumb, just say random items to me. I try not to let it get to me, but it does bother me because it's intrinsically racist where I'm at. I'm a small, brown-skinned female and usually the only one that looks like that in the store. It never fails, just minding my business, and asshats yell a random item at me, and when I respond that I don't work here, then I get some of the stupidest responses such as you were pushing a cart, you look like you work here, you're wearing red, in a Walmart not a Target. Geez, what? They always have an excuse. It used to really upset me. Today I of course said I don't work here, walked away or stayed silent as those 2 asshats laughed and carried on. But, what I would really like to say one day is what makes you think I work here, because it's clearly not my clothes, so it must be my skin color and to F right off. I just want to shop in peace, and it bothers me that it still happens and that I'm still upset about it. I still tried to help, by user willy nilly Philly. First post ever. The nature of my job is such that a restroom is a scarce commodity. I fill in on driving routes when someone else is absent. Mostly small residential deliveries, some heavier items and / or commercial customers. Basically I don't know most areas well enough to say, oh there's a great restroom in 5 more stops. Yellow van, bright red uniform polo shirt with yellow shoulders and sleeves, 95% international shipments, maybe you get the idea. Well, on such an unknown route yesterday, it was time. First place that came to mind was Wally World. They're pretty much everywhere in my neck of the woods. Just 5 minutes from my then current location, in fact. Might even say they're known for their blue vests and clearly visible name tags. Business finished, I had a few minutes before my next pickup deadline around the corner. So I went for a look at sporting goods, and automotive supplies, even neck pillows. Anything I could purchase and jam in my cooler, so as to avoid scrutiny upon return to my station, as the company calls it. Just where I punch in and out and we sort some freight. On my way to Socks, a woman stops me in my bright red and yellow shirt and asks where our dog food and pet supplies are. Now ever since joining this sub I've dreamed of being able to tell a tale worthy of your views, and I'm not sure this is it, but I look her in the eye, tilt my head down to the company name on my shirt, repeat a few times. She's still just looking blankly at me, waiting for an answer. I finally respond, I don't know. Where do you keep the socks? And this is where it gets boring, she said, oh, you don't work here, and kept it pushing. Since she realized her mistake pretty quickly, and having been through half the store on my way from restroom to Socks, clockwise, I called to her and gestured to the other half of the store as I'd not seen any pet items in my travels. Unfortunately she'd already reverted to NPC and I watched her turn towards sporting goods. I hope she got the dog some toys. Lanyard equals Michael's employee, by user DruidCraft12. Yesterday evening I was driving around all over town doing some early Christmas shopping when I passed by a Michael's. At that moment, I remembered I needed more pens for my sketchbook, so I decided to go pick some up. When I was browsing the pens, I saw movement in my periphery and looked over to see a lady walking around confused. She spotted me and asked if I worked there. I told her that I didn't and she said she thought I did because I was wearing my lanyard that held my keys. We had a bit of a laugh over that as she walked off to find an actual employee. I grabbed the pens I was looking for and a couple chisel nib pens I had never gotten before and left the aisle. I thought the 2 pens were different, so I read the package to check and realized that they weren't waterproof, so I headed back to the aisle. On my way there, a man approached me and, for the second time tonight, asked me if I worked there. Once again, I said I didn't and he mentioned the lanyard like the lady before did. I told him that was the second time tonight someone asked me that because of the lanyard. Turns out that was his wife who asked me earlier. We also had a laugh and went on our way. It was late and there weren't a lot of people around, so I guess I understand the mistake. But, the funniest part is that Michael's employees, while they do wear lanyards, they wear red Michael's shirts with either jeans or khakis. I was wearing a baggy, black Eunice Anna shirt, light grey, baggy Stranger Things sweatpants, flip-flops, and my lanyard was covered in the Zoom Ed logo with many keys, car FOBS, and a Spider-Man Funko keychain, among other keychains, dangling from it. Don't know how 2 people made that mistake, lols. Nothing wild and crazy like most of the stories on here, but a fun, wholesome yet silly interaction, smiley face. Edit, I'm not assuming that everyone should know what a Michael's uniform looks like, but retail places usually have uniforms and they're meant to stand out from everyday street clothes. Also, I forgot to mention I was wearing a floral backpack purse, but they couldn't really see that from the angle they approached me.